Well, hi, everybody. There we go.
Hi, everybody.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Loudmouth of the South, SAJ, coming to you live from the now defunct Hermes Music. Wonderful, wonderful place.
What's up, everybody? I'm BD. Today I'm going to be coming at you from the Spaghetti Warehouse Studios.
Yet another wonderful place that unfortunately
N-
is gone.
Now defunct.
Pour one out for our homies.
That's right. That's
So,
right.
quick shouts out. We want to make sure that we're giving props to all of our fans that are watching. Shout out to Flex and Texan. We haven't heard from him in a while, but Luke, if you're out there, thinking about you, man. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Definitely Hollywood, Albert Bynum. Who else we got? Of course, the Horns Forward podcast. All of our friends over at the San Antonio Brahms XFL fan page, and some of our new friends that are coming in, like XFL Mike G, and Florida Brian, who is now, I guess, Converse Brian, and just all of you fans. Wouldn't be possible without you. So thank you guys all for all your support.
Absolutely.
We have an incredible, incredible show to talk about tonight. Or I'm sorry, incredible show tonight with some really fun things to talk about. Let's go ahead and get started. Uh, First of all, I think we probably should talk about um, our two favorite teams in the NFL, right? Um, and that would be, of course, the Dallas Cowgirls. I'm sorry, I mean the Cowboys. Jackie's going to punch me in the mouth for that one. And
She's on a
of
cruise. She's not
course,
watching right now, so she'll let you get away with it.
no, she's going to watch the replay and then smack me right in the mouth. And then, of course, the epic demise of my Green Bay Packers.
Dude, why
This
don't you
is
go first this time? We always start off with the Cowboys. Let's start off with the Packers talk.
Well, because we're Texans
What
talking about
happened?
Texas football. Green Bay is decidedly not Green Bay or not Texas football. Although there's quite a large population of Green Bay Packers fans here in San Antonio. In fact, I just met two people tonight because my daughter happened to be wearing a Green Bay Packers shirt. She was getting love from a bunch of you know fellow Northerners, if you will. What can I say about that disaster of a game? To come off of such a strong win the week before to then turn into this, right? I said Jordan Love is making moves towards being the guy. Well, this week he took a step back. If anybody had the misfortune of watching that game, you could see that Jordan Love was trying to be more than what he is right now. Okay? He does not have the relationship, rather. He does not have the rapport. He does not have that connection with the receivers that a 5 or 6 year veteran would. Okay? Granted, he's been in the league for what? This is his fourth year now, 3 years behind Aaron Rodgers, but first year at the helm. But he's got all new receivers, and he's got guys that he has not had a time to really connect with. And you could tell it was evident with those throws. Let's be honest. The Giants, their defense is not that great. They're not that strong. They're not that well
No.
known for being able to shut down quarterbacks. And they were able to contain him. That and us not having was it Aaron Green? No. Our running back that I can't remember his name right now. It's
Jones.
Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones. I don't know why I was thinking. I think it was thinking AJ Green or something. Anyways, not having Jones really kind of hurt us a little bit, Now, granted, we did have AJ. What the heck's his name? The other running back. Very smash mouth runner. He's the guy that you need in those short yard situations because he's not going to be stopped that easily. But you needed that finesse runner to open up that pass game, and that just wasn't happening. Love was pressured a little bit, right? Um, but he was also trying to force throws, and you could tell he was leading his receivers too far, and he was putting the ball in situations where they were really fighting, or it was just out of their fingertips. There was no way they were going to catch it. So again, really trying to force things to happen, and then add that to the fact that we really don't have a defense.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you going to do?
And that's
You
what
know,
I think that's what really hurt you. I was mostly watching the other game going on last night, but I was kind of flipping back and forth. And I got to see kind of the last couple minutes of your game. And I mean, for all the stuff that Love did kind of at the beginning of the game, he scored a touchdown when his team needed it, and that was a real nice throw that he made for that touchdown.
which
So
the first one that was called a not catch, or the
that,
second one that was.
yeah, yeah, well, both of them, um, that first one was this close to being a catch.
Mhm.
He was about to get that third foot down when the ball
Yep,
got knocked out,
yep.
but then your defense, just
They're
let
going to defense,
they just Green Bay defense then let the Giants march all the way down the field for a field goal.
which was absolutely insane, right? And here's the best part: they went for that 2 point conversion, which they would have needed to do, right?
Yeah, yeah,
But had they not missed that chip shot of a field goal before that, that game would have been out of reach. You know, I just can't. I cannot fathom how they did so terribly the way they did. I mean, it was just unbelievable. Um, and I knew as soon as that touchdown was scored and there was a minute 30 left on the clock, I said this game's over. And it was, because you cannot leave that kind of time on the clock for a quarterback who has nothing to lose.
yeah.
Okay? And I'm not saying Vinny, whatever his name is, um, I'm not saying that he's that great of a quarterback. But what I am saying is that you absolutely cannot leave a minute and a half on the clock with a team who absolutely has something to prove. Okay? This cat is what? This is his like second or third game in the
Second game.
NFL.
I mean, he was living in his mom's basement like a month ago. So, he's trying to make it into the league. So he's going to go out there and give it everything he's got.
Mm-hmm.
So
And it's not like the Giants have ever been known for being a pushover team. I mean, regardless of how good or bad the team is at any given time, they're going to go out there and they're going to fight,
yeah,
right? There's a lot of pride, a lot of history, a lot of just attitude and gumption in being a New York Giant. And so anybody that takes that field as a player is going to have some of that swagger and they're going to fight to the bitter end. I mean, let's compare some of the games that they've played with the Cowboys over the years, right?
well, not
They've had
this year because they've
not
been
this year,
they've
not
gotten
this year,
stopped this year. But I
right?
mean, really, yeah, you're absolutely right. It's
Hmm.
it's also NFC East rivals and stuff like that. So there's a little bit more to it. But Giants have always been a scrappy team that's going to fight, no matter what their record is.
Hmm.
They don't give up. They don't quit. They don't just roll over. They will fight and give everything they have.
Right. And so I think what happened going into that game was that we had a specific game plan, and then that game plan fell apart in the first possession when we went three and out. It just couldn't do anything with the ball. After that, it was like, okay, what are you going to do now? We have a pretty beefy tight end that was getting open, and Love was not throwing to him. You know, um, we have young receivers that maybe might have been a little bit out of position because they don't have that connection with Love, and maybe they don't really know the routes so well. I mean, there was a guy that dropped two passes or blew two key opportunities last night. I never heard of the cat, honestly. He was a guy that was elevated from the practice squad,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
it was like, look, I get it, right? You got to be decent to be able to even make a practice squad in the NFL. Um, But when nobody knows who you are, even, that means the quarterback probably barely even knows you. And there's not going to be that connection and that chemistry there. And you may as well be thrown to the beer vendor because at least you know he's going to catch it, you know? So it just, for what it was just a rough game. It hurt as a Packers fan. We're still in the chase, which is phenomenal because we
Well,
weren't
because
even.
the Lions didn't want to win either. So,
No,
and
no.
neither
And
did the Vikings. No, the
thank
Vikings did
you.
win. The
Yes,
Vikings
thank you,
did win.
Detroit,
They
for
just
being
didn't want
Detroit.
to score.
Right. We needed that one, though.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
needed them to lose that game.
And you had perfect opportunity to make up some ground, but
Mhm.
couldn't take
And we
advantage of it.
didn't. So,
But as bad as you felt, at least y'all aren't like the Dolphins fans
yeah. So,
who became the first team in NFL history to be up by 14 points with 3 minutes left in a game and lose in regulation.
true. Oddly enough, I'm on the NFL website and the highlights are coming up of that game. And I don't even want to watch that because it was bad. How, Brian? How do you go from a 14-point lead to losing by a point? Like,
Dude,
how, dude?
and not even it's to the Titans, to Will Levis and the Titans.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
It was it
that was
was a
rough.
it was a
That was
brutal
rough.
game. So Dolphins fans, I feel bad for you guys. You're still in the hunt. It's fine. Losing to the Titans is embarrassing.
I mean, they're still going to win their division.
Right. Well, as long as no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I almost said as long as Tampa Bay doesn't catch up on them, but they're not in the same division. So
No, they're not in the same conference. No, Buffalo's the next one.
yeah, in Buffalo, by the way, Buffalo won their game against the Chiefs, right? So
Well, yeah,
The
yeah.
Bills are sitting at 7-6. Now, I think we talked about this at the beginning of the season. The Bills are going to bill, right? They're going to do their thing kind of regardless what the rest of the league is doing. And so that I mean, what can you say about the Bills, right? They've got a pretty good quarterback in what the heck's his name? Josh Allen.
Josh Allen's a really good
Okay.
quarterback. They got Diggs, who's one of
Mm-hmm.
the best receivers in the league.
Mm-hmm.
They've got a good run game. They haven't really utilized it that much this
Right.
year,
But they're
but
the
they
Bills.
but they've got the players for it.
Mm-hmm.
Their defense is
Average.
average. It's not great, but it's not terrible.
It's not Green Bay.
No. Um, but they've got the offense that they can carry them. They're kind of having
Mm-hmm.
just kind of a down year
Mm-hmm.
for a lot of reasons.
Yep.
But
So that being the case, there were some really weird games. Like who expected uh the Jaguars to lose to the Browns? I mean, it's the Browns.
dude, let me tell you, this was probably the worst week I've ever had for my pick'em league. I absolutely did terrible. I
Mm-hmm.
think I picked maybe like 3 or 4 games right.
Yeah.
It was bad.
Well,
So
here's another one for you. Who expected the Texans to lose to the Jets as badly as they did?
no one. I didn't
Right?
expect that because I picked the Texans to win.
Like that's ridiculous. The Vikings Raiders game going 3-0. I don't think that has ever happened in an NFL game.
I don't know. That was
You know? 49ers beating the Seahawks. I mean, you expected that.
I did pick the Seahawks to upset the 49ers.
Really?
It was wishful thinking,
Okay.
mostly, but
Well, and then the Broncos. The Broncos actually won one. So they're over 500 now.
yeah, Broncos have been playing really good of late, and
Yeah.
if they make it into the playoffs, Sean Payton gets Coach of the Year.
I don't know if I'd go that far, but I see what you're
Bad
saying.
as the Broncos were to start the season, like 0-4, 0-5 or something like that, for him to turn it around like that, I would give him Coach of the Year.
Arguable, but okay. Okay. Now, again, the 5-8 Bears beating the I'm sorry, it was the 4-8 Bears beating the 9-3 Lions 28-13. That was unexpected.
Yep.
but Detroit is on a downhill slide. You know, are they going to make it in the playoffs? Sure, they're going to make it in the playoffs right now if they didn't win another game. Um, but they have to be careful, right? Especially with the division games because they're contending against us and Minnesota, and so they'd have to win at least one of those games to make sure that they get in. And we still have to play them. We still have to play Minnesota as well.
Yep, those are going to be some big games
Oh, I'm
for
sorry. I'm sorry.
the
No,
wins.
we don't have to play Detroit, but we do have to play Minnesota and we have to play Chicago. That's what it was.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got a really weird, funky schedule. But enough about all the teams that don't really seem to matter to America. Let's talk about those Dallas Cowboys.
You know, I was really surprised that this game was as big of a blowout as it was. We talked last week. I thought Philly was going to come in pissed off that the 49ers whipped them. And they just didn't come out with the energy that I expected them to. And, classic Cowboys fan, I was always waiting for that other shoe to drop. They came out, scored a touchdown. I'm like, all right, well, they usually do this, and then they may fall apart, or they'll let Philly go down and score, and then they got a turnover on the first drive. All right, here we go. And even at halftime, like, well, you know what, Philly's a second half team. We got to keep up the energy. Don't get too cocky here. And then that third quarter, Dak fumbled for return for the touchdown, and I was like, all right, here we go. This is how it starts. They're gonna roll over us now. But defense. Defense held the Philly offense scoreless. 3 turnovers, and the offense was just going the whole game. So it was an impressive game, an impressive win. Against the top of the league. So it's what I've been looking for.
Well, we say that the defense held Dallas's offense scoreless. In this one, I am going to count the field goals. I know you normally don't.
Touchdown scoreless.
Right. I'm going to count the field goals because it really would have been nice to see Dallas flex that defense like they normally do. Not that I'm against Philly. Like I don't really have a dog in that fight.
You hold Philly to 6 points on offense. That's a damn good defensive turnout. So
yeah, that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And anybody who had any questions about Dallas's defense, they showed their champion caliber this last weekend against a very formidable opponent.
Yeah. Hurts was an MVP candidate coming into this. I don't think he is anymore.
It hurts not to be the MVP candidate, huh? I said it.
Yep. I don't think he is anymore. He's behind a few of the other guys.
Yes.
As much as it annoys me to say it, I think he's behind the quarterback that he lost to last week. So
yes. Now, one thing I noticed a couple of weeks ago that I forgot to mention anything about, your defensive coordinator just so happens to be one of my more favorite Green Bay Packers players.
Oh, really?
Yes. That's Al Harris.
Yeah.
He was phenomenal cornerback.
He's the secondary coach.
Okay, secondary coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. He's not the defensive coordinator. But I mean, he's on the staff. Keep in mind, he also has a relationship with Mike McCarthy because Mike McCarthy played under Mike McCarthy, right?
Yep.
So there's already going to be that charisma there. And you've got a guy who, if I remember correctly, was part of the Super Bowl winning team. Okay?
I think so. And Al Harris one of the best, secondary players of all time. And just having him coach these guys up is fantastic. And they talked a little bit about his strategy, during the game. He's like, we don't coach schemes. We coach learn the player that you're guarding and learn what they do, learn their tells, and so you'll know where they're going to be, what route they're going to run before they tell you.
What's up, Oscar?
What's up, Oscar? So,
Mike G. You're right. We were going to start at 8:30, but our schedule freed up. Mainly my schedule freed up, and so here we are.
Um, yeah, I mean, Al Harris is a phenomenal, secondaries coach, and I absolutely love having him coach that defense up. I mean, the secondary was especially after Diggs went down, the I thought was going to be our downside. But I mean, Bland's come in, the rest of the team has stepped up, and I mean we haven't missed a beat. So
Yeah. Yeah. As much as I hate to say it, because everybody knows how much I love Dallas. Um, I mean, realistically, and I saw on, I think it was part of the interruption this morning, um, the top 5 teams. Dallas was at number 3, and it was they were behind, I want to say Miami. And I was like, oh no, I'm sorry, Baltimore. They had them
Baltimore,
behind
probably
Baltimore.
Baltimore and the 49ers.
Right.
So
And I'm sorry, but even me as a non-Cowboys fan is going to have to take issue to that, because truth be told, as good as Baltimore is, I don't think they're better than Dallas. I think the only X factor in that is going to be uh, Prescott, right?
yeah,
Because when he's on, he is on, boy. But when he's not, right?
I don't know. So truth, so I'm not a huge Baltimore fan, so I don't follow them that much. Um, but are they? I don't think their defense isn't great. Um, and I think that's those are the teams that the Cowboys would struggle with. The really good defensive teams who can get the pressure on Dak and
Mhm.
get him uncomfortable, because that's truly when he struggles.
Right,
If he's sitting back in the pocket, even if he scrambles, but it's a controlled scramble, he's still good. It's when he's
right.
running for his life that he's making stupid throws.
Right. So the Ravens are sitting at 10-3 right now. They played the Rams. I'm sorry, they were 9-3 going into this game. They played the Rams that were 6-6. And that
Yeah,
game was 37-31.
yeah. They went in overtime, and the Ravens had the punt return for a touchdown
Mm-hmm.
to
So
win it.
look,
So
yeah, looking at that, that tells me that defense is probably, I mean, unless they just had an off game that week, I don't see like they beat the Texans 25-9 first game. They beat the Bengals 27-24. They beat the Browns 28-3, and then they lost to the Steelers. They beat Tennessee 24-16. They beat Detroit 38-6. Then the Cardinals 31-24. Seattle Seahawks 37-3. They lost to the Browns again 31-33. Well, I'm sorry, 33-31. Beat the Bengals then 34-20. And then week 12, they beat the Rams 20-10, and then turned around in overtime week 14, 37-31. You hear these scores? I mean,
yeah.
it's not like they're really stomping the crap out of real big powerhouse teams. I mean, they're beating some of the lower tier teams, minus Detroit, of course. Um, but they're beating some of these kind of middle of the pack teams, and not by much, you know. So, I I don't see Baltimore having that strong of a team that they should be rated higher than Dallas Cowboys. And I hate to say it, but there's some real hate out there. Like I don't like Dallas, but there's some dudes that really hate, like Stephen A. Smith. Absolutely hates
Oh
the
God,
Cowboys.
don't get me started on that freaking
Well, I'm
guy.
saying, I mean, it's relevant to talk about. Um, but yeah, I mean, there's some teams. So I would not put them at 4. I would put them at, I'm sorry, at 3. I'd put them at probably 2. I would be comfortable putting them
You know,
at
I
2
I
in the
I,
NFL right now.
I think right now, 49ers number one in the league. I
Hmm.
don't think that's debatable. The way they beat the Cowboys earlier, which not the same Cowboys team as right now, but you know what? They took us to the woodshed. The way they beat Philly last week, they're solidly in the number one spot, and they deserve to be so. Um, yeah, I think the Cowboys are above Baltimore, but like I said, I haven't watched Baltimore enough to make a super educated guess on that.
Yeah.
Just kind of by what I've seen for some of the stuff.
Well, we'll let the professionals say what they want to say because they're getting paid money for it, and we're
Yeah,
just a bunch of opinionated
and I mean,
nerds.
at the end of the
So
day, it doesn't matter. Who cares what you know douchebag ESPN guy ranked you? You still got to
true,
go out and win.
true.
So,
At the end of the season, that's where it's going to matter. So who cares what the sportscasters say? Now, speaking of sportscasters and a bunch of craziness going on, Brian, I want to ask you something. I know we've joked about it offline, but I really want to get your take on a specific move, uh, for lack of a better term, called the tush push. And there's a reason why I bring this up. What are your thoughts on the tush push or getting behind the person with the ball and pushing them forward through trying to get them through the pile as much as you possibly can?
one, I hate the name. It's absolutely dumb. I like the brotherly shove. What they call it in Philly.
Yeah.
Um, it is basically kind of a rugby play, but I don't think it should be banned in the league. I know there's a lot of talk about Goodell wanting to ban that play, and they're going to take it to the competition committee over the off season. It's one of those it's one of those plays that, hey, you don't like it, figure out how to stop them. You want
Mhm.
you want that play to go away, figure out how to stop that play, and then they'll start doing something else.
Just play Green Bay's defense so you don't have to worry about it.
That too.
We left
Um,
everything in the middle open. I
yeah,
said it.
yeah.
I don't care. Um,
As I mean, it's successful. It's there's you get big old boys in the middle, and you get a big old boy pushing a big old quarterback.
mhm,
So you figure out how to stop it, get lower. You know what drives me crazy is every time I see uh, the defense when they go in and they're all trying to jump over the pile. Now, that's exactly what they want you to do. They
mhm.
want you to jump over because they're getting as low as they can and getting that leverage and pushing forward.
Yep, they're
So you're
pushing
just
forward and
absolutely
up.
helping the offense when you jump over the pile like that.
Yep. Here's right here. It was banned. The danger is the player has no control over where he's going. You ever been picked up by a crowd? Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
I've crowd surfed all the time. It's fun.
Yeah.
That's what they should crowd surf into the end zone.
I would be okay with that. Here's the reason why I bring it up. Because this Sunday, during one of the halftime breaks, Terry Bradshaw started talking about it and absolutely came unhinged with how upset he was about that play. He said it's dangerous, it's careless, somebody's going to get seriously hurt, and just was not happy at all. They were
But the
showing it as
numbers
a
aren't
highlight.
backing up that claim. How many times has that play been ran this season? And there's been like two guys hurt off of it.
Right.
So
And I don't necessarily disagree with that. The reason why I bring it up, though, is because I never really thought about it. Like, it's just part of the game. It would be like, saying that you can't do the flea flicker or something like that,
yeah,
or the jet sweep, because somebody could get hurt. I mean, this is part of the game. It's a physical game. And I understand where Bradshaw's coming from with that. But it's one of those things you don't really think about until somebody kind of draws attention to it. Now, is it there an increased risk of danger to the players being involved? Yeah. Um, but it's also kind of part of the game. Now, you brought up a great analogy about it being kind of a rugby-esque player. If you've ever watched rugby at all, you'll notice there's a lot less injuries in rugby,
yep,
right? And they're not fully padded. Every now and then you might see a guy out there with kind of like the foam pad helmet, probably because he, knocked his head, a game or two before, whatever. But for the most part, like they tape up their fingers, they tape up their elbows and knees, and they don't put any, shin guards on or hip pads or anything like that. There's no chest protection. You just go out there and you play
yeah,
smart. You know, you're physical, but you know how to use your body to protect yourself.
absolutely.
So that being the case, I think we're Bradshaw is kind of making a bigger deal about it than what is necessary. It's like that whole argument we had about turf versus natural field. Um, and David Bakhtiari saying, I'm never going to play on another turf field again. Well, who cares? You got hurt on grass, man. You're out for the season. So, like,
Yeah,
say what you want.
players are going to get hurt. I mean, and like I said, the number of injuries that have happened on that play are, they're not astronomical. Like I said, I think it's only been two or three in the last few years. You know,
Right.
so it's not a, well, there's more of a risk for injury. It's there's a risk for injury on every goal line play.
There's a risk for injury
On every play. On
playing
every play.
football.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's just kind of part of, the whole deal. I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Um, Again, this is a very physical sport. That's why they introduced pads in the first place. If you go back to the 1920s when they were wearing leather helmets and stuff like that, they did that because that's the protection that was available at the time. And, that was before they probably even really knew what concussions were. And people still played.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean,
No, it wasn't a concussion. It was you got your bell rung. That's what it was then.
that's true. That's true. Um, so again, that being the case, I think it's kind of an overreaction on Bradshaw's part.
I would be real disappointed in the league if they ban that play. You know, I know there's talk. I know they're gonna talk about it. It's got to pass all the owners and stuff. But
Mhm.
I would be really disappointed with the league if they did it.
Yeah. Now, speaking of overreacting, maybe we need to talk about Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, dude,
What are
what
your what are your thoughts on that whole fiasco of a situation?
he picked the wrong week. You know, if you want to get mad and scream at the official and like angry cry on the sidelines, um, the week to do that was last week when there was the obvious PI that wasn't called. You know, that was absolutely blatant. Had no business not being called. Like that's where you get mad. You don't get that mad on a play where the half of your receiver's body is offsides. All right,
Mm-hmm.
you picked the wrong play, and so what I expected is he got pissed off. He was in his feelings. Kind of all the crap from last week built up and spilled over, and that's where it all came from. He was pissed. He was gonna go in the locker room. He was gonna see the replay, and he was gonna come out and be like, my bad. Yeah, he was offsides. We got to tighten things up, whatever. But no, he doubled down in his press conference. So did coach. It was like, well, they're supposed to they should give us a warning. They should do this. No, like they don't have to give you a warning. The talking to the officials after the game when they interviewed him, the player was blocking the line officials' view of the ball. Like if you're that far offside, then it needs to be called. Uh, it was. We're not talking like a toe over the line or something like that. We're talking, a good part of his body. So, I think Mahomes needs to and Coach Reed, because even Reed came back in and said, yeah, he didn't check with the official before he
Keep going. Keep going. He didn't check in with the official before.
Yeah, he didn't check with the official before he lined up. He looked over there, but he didn't. He wasn't like stopped. He wasn't lined up when he looked back. Because I saw that video today. Well, here's a video that shows that he checked with the official. He looked over at the official as he was running up to line up, and he looked back towards the ball before he actually got set. So he never got the okay from the official, and he's looking right at the ball, and he's having to probably turn his head backwards because of how far over the line he is.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we've been griping about the officials for all season, and they've made a bunch of bad plays, and it's been some pretty horrendous calling. But you know, we're talking about a play that they got right this time.
Right. Now, I will say though, let's go back to the officiating that you just mentioned. I cannot find the comparison. There is a comparison out there of this game versus the Miami game. And
I saw that. Looked like
yeah.
Waddle was lined up off sides as well.
Mhm. And according to the line of scrimmage, he was. His
Yeah,
foot was over and it
it
didn't get
looked like it
called.
was too. And you know what? That is one thing. If they want to gripe and complain, talk about the consistency, which is something else we've talked about. But don't say they shouldn't have called this play. They should have called Waddle offsides as well because he obviously was. Um,
Yep.
so
So again, that goes back to what we talked about last week about the officiating in general. Uh, Kansas City, they got robbed, right? And I can understand being a Kansas City fan. You play Green Bay, you get robbed on a clear PI call.
yep.
It should have been called. I'll be the first to admit it. Okay. And I think I did admit it last week. That should have been called. But on the same token, right, there was that unnecessary roughness call 2 plays before that shouldn't have been called, right? Um, Mike G right here, right? Sometimes you get a warning, sometimes you don't. That's inconsistency.
So and well, which is we're why does the offense get a warning? Does the defense get a warning? If they line a
No.
neutral zone, they're getting a 5 yard penalty all the time. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Or free play.
or the free play or five.
Mm-hmm.
Defense doesn't get a warning. Why should the offense? I don't think anybody should get a warning. Now, look over, check with the line up, look over, check with the ref, make sure you're good. He'll give you the thumbs up, whatever.
Thank you.
Do that. But no, you should get warnings.
Every
Maybe if you've got a toe over the line, maybe a toe, I will say, okay, the ref can be like, hey, next play you need to get back a little bit.
right,
But any more than that, if you're
right.
offsides, you're offsides.
And then if you push it, then the next one you're going to get called. But every wide receiver from Pop Warner on is taught, hey, check with the line judge. Make
Check with
sure
the
you're
judge.
good, right? Make sure you're good. Make sure the next receiver is staggered behind you. That
Yep.
way, everybody's in position where they're supposed to be, right? We see it especially because, we're so close to the field in arena football, right? The stationary receiver never moves.
Yeah,
Like he checks in with the line judge and he stays right there. We good?
absolutely.
Cool, right? Should be the same thing in the
Every
pros.
play, these receivers should be doing that.
Mm-hmm. So,
And
Mike G,
it's bad, coaching or
officiating.
mechanics, fundamentals to not do that.
Yeah. So yeah, the play should have been blown dead. They should have gotten the penalty, whatever, or a chance to reset, whatever. But
Yeah, but I don't think it should
do
be blown
something.
dead. I mean, just like with offensive or with defensive offsides, that play's not blown dead. Why does the offense get a break because of that? You know, I mean, it's one thing like the false start, one thing encroachment on the defense, stuff like that. Yeah, blow those plays dead. But if it's lining up offsides, let the play run. Maybe the defense gets a pick. That they wouldn't have gotten if they blew the play dead.
Yeah.
Let
I,
let the plays play out, and then call your penalty as is. I mean, they do it all the time for the defense. Offense shouldn't get any special favors for that.
I could agree with that. Okay. So we've covered some of the craziness in the NFL. I think we need to talk about some of the high school stuff going on here in San Antonio because that is important. These kids are playing their hearts out. Brian, why don't you update us on your latest findings on the high school playoffs?
So, we said last week that Steele was playing for a chance to get into the state championship. Fortunately, they lost their game, so they're out. But another team that we've kind of neglected to talk about during these playoffs because we've kind of been focused on 6A but Smithson Valley, right up the road,
Mm-hmm.
they're playing Alito for the state championship this week up
Yep.
in Jerry World. So, big congrats to them and good luck, man. That's anytime we get a team from around the San Antonio area playing in the state championship, that's impressive. And you know what I found too? I was reading something. The Smith Valley head coach has been there for like 30 something years.
Wow.
Yeah,
I didn't realize that's like Rutledge at Judson.
dude, it was crazy. And they said this is This is his fourth time playing for a state championship. But yeah, 30 years for a high school coach is amazing.
That's um, that says a lot as a coach that you stick around for 30 years with a
Yeah.
program.
Yeah.
Now, and we know Smithson Valley has had a pretty strong program the last, 10, 15 years.
Oh
So
yeah.
him being able to be a part of that has been phenomenal. So congratulations to the Smithson Valley Rangers for making it as far as you have. We're definitely pulling for you guys in this championship game this weekend. We hope you bring it home. It's well deserved. And I would love to see, uh, that come back to CISD. You
Oh yeah.
know,
Yeah.
um, that being the case, we don't really have much to talk about with college football. There's been a couple of bowl games.
No, well,
Kind of
no bowl games yet, but we had the Army Navy game last week that Army won. Low scoring game, kind of what you expect from them. I think what bowl games kick off in what 2 weeks, a week or two, something like that.
maybe that's what it is. But I know there. I could have sworn I saw some other games, and I thought they were bowl games. But it shows you how much I'm paying attention to college football right now. Because realistically, the only one I care about is that UTSA bowl game,
Yep.
right? We talked about it on Facebook with Mike G. In fact, how important this bowl game is, right? Jeff Traylor has done phenomenal things with this program in the last 10 years that he's been there. I don't even think it's been 10 years. No, the program's 10 years. He's only been there
Program saying Trailer's only been there 3 years, I
Yeah,
believe.
3 or 4 years. And he's taken them to 3 bowl games now. Well, this will be bowl game number 4.
Yeah.
Um, in those 3 bowl games, they've put up a heck of a show, but they have not been able to seal the deal and get that bowl game win. For Trailer's legacy, for the legitimacy of the program, for everything to start, coming to fruition that Trailer's been harvesting and tending to and taking care of, UTSA has to get this win, right? They have to show that they're a legitimate program, that it's not just a fluke, and it's not just because, Trailer's an awesome guy or he's getting really lucky. Like, this is skill, this is talent. This is him doing the absolute best with the recruiting class that he's getting, not to make it sound like they're bad or anything, but they're definitely not 5-star commits.
Yeah, but they're not getting the top of the line recruits. I mean, that's it's where the program is. It's where they are in their the conference, So what they're doing with what they have is phenomenal.
Yes.
But like we talked last week, he's going to need some help from the university, from the students and stuff like that. And this goes to kind of bolster that.
Correction to my previous statement. This is actually going to be their 4th straight bowl game appearance and 5th overall bowl appearance when they're facing off against Marshall this week in Frisco. Okay, and it's they're playing Marshall in the Scooters Coffee Frisco Bowl Tuesday, December 19th. Oh, that's next week.
So in a week, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on that one. We'll still be doing our show, but we're definitely going to have that one on in the background.
We'll be getting live updates from SAJ for it.
Maybe, but SAJ won't be at the game, so because I'm not driving to Frisco for no reason.
Not even to see UTSA's first bowl win.
No.
If they could guarantee that they were going to win the game, you wouldn't drive to Frisco to see the first bowl game win in the university's history.
No.
Wow.
No.
Wow.
I love me some UTSA football.
Obviously not.
I support my program.
Except when it means driving out of town for them.
Except when it means driving out of town on a Tuesday. Okay. Now, let me go to I believe it was X. We're going to switch gears and we're going to talk about something that I think is really important, and that's going to be the XFL. But specifically, we're going to be talking about the Houston Roughnecks, right? Because there's been a lot of talk about what's going to happen with the league merger and who's going where and everything else. And I don't know that this is necessarily a key indicator of what the future holds for that franchise. But I think it's worth noting, and I think it was XFL Mike G, in fact, that brought it up on Facebook, one of a couple of sources, anyways. Um, but Houston Roughnecks have done a bunch of letters of intent this week.
Yep.
Okay. And I mean a significant amount, not like two or three or the couple that you were seeing every now and then leaked out on, on Facebook and Twitter or on X and whatever else. Right. But this was a bumper crop of signings. And I'm not seeing any of those except for one. There was one signing for the Houston Gamblers. But you've got 10, 11 people that have signed letters of intent this week with the Houston Roughnecks, and only one cat that's signing with the Houston Gamblers. Again, this is speculation because we're not insiders. We don't know anything that anybody else doesn't know, and we're not necessarily really big on spreading rumors. But I do think it's worth noting that you've got this massive amount of people that are signing contracts with a team that may or may not be there. Why would they be doing that? Why would they be pushing that? I know season tickets are, from what I understand from our Houston fans, the Predator couple, Rig Rocker, stuff like that. From those fans, if I remember correctly, they said that their season tickets are still available for purchase, even though they don't really necessarily have a home, right? So
it seems like you see it on a lot of on the Facebook pages because they'll screenshot. Oh, well, these teams are still offering season tickets. These aren't on the XFL page or the app and stuff like that. I want to say it's just the leagues are moving as business as usual until told otherwise. I kind of think of the Nick Fury quote from the Avengers. Until the world stops spinning, I'm gonna act like it's gonna keep going. But there's been a lot. It's been a lot more than usual. Like the letters of intent. It, like you said, it's not just the couple here, couple there that we normally see. It seems like it's almost intentional how many there are and how many they're releasing. Whether that's a marketing strategy of, hey, pick us, look how many players we're getting, look how look at the interest in us, or whether it's they know something that we don't know.
So Jersey, you're right. I mean, both teams have been signing players, but again, like we talked about, to my knowledge, there's only been one player that has signed a letter of intent with the Houston Gamblers. And there have been like 12, 13. And I'm trying to find the post about it. But there's, been, a good amount. I want to say like, 10 or 12, something like that, just this week that have been announced that are signing with, with the Roughnecks. So again, it's speculation, and we
it is absolutely, and we
really
hate speculation, but you kind of gotta. We're getting dragged into it a little bit, but
I'm sorry, it was 11. Here it is. I just found it. I'm going to agree. I'm going to share screen because I think it's important. Here we go. Right, and we're going to highlight this. 11 players signed letters of intent with the XFL. And these are all cats that are going to essentially, I mean, minus these, this guy right here. So I'm sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 guys signed with Houston. Okay. Why would they be signing with an organization that's going to be going away? And this was as of, December 11th. So yesterday, right? Again, this is just speculation, but why? Why would you sign players to a team if you're just going to turn around and tell them, yeah, thanks, but no thanks, right? Yeah. Now, I'm wondering.
One of those teams is doing it. It's either going to be the Gamblers or the Roughnecks, but You know,
Uh, not our gamblers. Houston Gamblers signed letters of intent. 4 days ago, Houston Gamblers signed former Cowboy safety Tyler Cole. Okay. And that's been about the most recent news from the Houston Gamblers. You know, again, not saying what exactly is happening because we truly don't know. But I and I'm biased, right? Let's be honest. I'm biased.
yeah,
I not necessarily a fan of the Houston Roughnecks, but I love the XFL. I love the way it's structured right now. I love the fact that 3 of the teams are here in Texas, even if one of them has to be South Oklahoma. That just, that just makes sense, right? Texas is the home of football. I'm surprised we don't have a 4th team here out in El Paso somewhere or something. Okay? Because it would draw people in. Oh, them's fighting words, man. The only way I love the Battlehawks is with a little bit of Cajun seasoning on them on an open spit.
mm-hmm.
Okay, ain't nobody loves the Battlehawks, not even you St. Louis fans, and you've shown those true colors before. So don't come into my house acting like I'm in love with some kind of crazy blue chicken. All right,
Hey,
bye.
grilled battle chicken tastes real good. So
Yep. Okay. Jersey has a very good speculation on the situation. With all these letters of intent signings, leads him to believe that there might be 16 teams overall. Uh, he's not necessarily wrong. Okay, Amanda, you can get that put on a shirt and sent to me because I am the biggest St. Louis hater right here. Okay, there's only one team I dislike more, and that's that team in South Oklahoma called the Dallas Cowboys. Boom, said it. Jersey, you might be right. It could be a situation where maybe all 16 teams are going to be in. And what's taking so long is the USFL trying to find homes for these teams that don't actually have homes. And then what do you do with the extra Houston team, right?
yeah,
Um, we've heard speculation that Vegas is on the bubble. We've heard that they could potentially be moving or going away. We've also heard that the Seattle Sea Dragons, because of their distance and everything, the travel just makes it unrealistic. So they may be on the bubble. We've heard that Orlando could potentially be on the bubble. But looking at the league, let's bring up USFL. I can't even spell USFL. That's amazing. Okay. Um, the teams that we know that have home stadiums, there's only 3 teams, right? That's Birmingham Stallions, the Pittsburgh Maulers, I believe it was.
no. It was Birmingham. It was
Oh,
Detroit,
Michigan, and then
Michigan, and
uh,
then
Memphis, wasn't it?
Memphis.
Yeah,
Memphis.
because the
I know
Generals did not have a
you have
stadium.
New
New
Orleans,
Orleans
but
did not. Pittsburgh did not. Philly did
so
not.
Pittsburgh and New Jersey, they homed out of Canton.
Right, but
Uh,
one of them is not going to make it.
yeah,
Right, if Canton becomes a stadium, one of them is not going to make it. Right, and it really doesn't make sense that you have a Pittsburgh team in Ohio. You
right.
know,
They would
um,
have to relocate to the Canton, whatever, if that's going to be
right.
the stadium they're playing at.
The Canton Tom Petty Rock and Roll Hall of Famers. There you go.
I've seen worse names.
Memphis, Detroit, and Birmingham. Pittsburgh may move to Canton, and then they're going to become the Canton whatevers.
No.
But that being the case, this could be taking long because they're trying to find a place for Houston and Memphis.
Which, you know, I'm so annoyed and frustrated with all this stuff, and I really think that the league is the whatever the merge, whatever it's going to be called, is really making a mistake with how they're doing this. Um, you know, the way it is, just with the original announcement, and now with the one they say, hey, we are merging, and this is going to be the season, but we have no details, and that was 2 weeks ago. and
Mm-hmm.
we're inching closer and closer and closer. You know, teams don't know what to do, the players don't know what to do. It just feels like it's going to be rushed. Um, and I don't think that's really a good look for whatever this new league is going to be. I think what would have benefited them the most is, hey, we're going to play out our seasons like regular this year. 2025, we're merging. Here's the details. You know,
Yeah.
I think they're doing themselves a disservice right now. I really do.
I'm going to, as antagonistic as I love to be, I'm going to be the protagonist here. I'm going to take the opposite side of this argument. And I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to make sure that they're doing it right. Okay. And it may take a little bit longer, and fans are going to be, getting a little bit upset. But we're also talking about,
I don't disagree that they're gonna get it. They're trying to get it right, but
I think that they're trying to make sure that they get it right because we're also talking about the impact on people's lives. Okay. People that are employed by a lot of these organizations and whatever. And you don't want to lay off 10,000 people because you think you've got the right structure. You want to make sure that the sacrifices that you're going to have to make are the right ones. To, if nothing else, to at least be able to solidify the franchise right now with whatever structure it's going to look like and the opportunity for growth back into those markets later, right? Like I'm sure, New Orleans probably isn't that connected with their team, so they're probably not going to care. But you do have some diehard Birmingham Stallions fans, and you actually even have some Gamblers fans. Granted, XFL Mike G and I cannot remember his name, but there's a gentleman that's associated with inside the XFL, which is part of the organization that Mike or the podcast that Mike G's involved with. Put out some really incredible stats. And for example, the Houston Gamblers are rated, number 16 out of the 16 teams between the USFL and the XFL. Because they've got a fan base of about 7,000 people, or 7,000 fans on Facebook, for example, and the Houston Roughnecks has 15, right? So again, there's people out there that are going to be getting displaced by this, and that are going to be getting upset, and that are potentially going to lose their team and not want to watch any of this whatsoever. Yeah. Okay. Jersey has an interesting proposal, right? New Orleans to Portland, Pittsburgh to Canton, and Houston to Oakland, and then bring back the Oakland Invaders. That is a possibility. Would that work though? Right? Because again, one of the things that we talked about, one of the things that we talked about are some of these labor laws. For example, we talk about arena football here. Albany was talking about bringing back a team, and that's in the AFL, I believe, right? But Albany's in contract negotiations with the state because they've got to cover those workers' comp rules and have provisions in there for people that are going to get hurt and stuff like that. That's something that the USFL, well, we're going to call it the USXFL going forward. Okay. Hashtag said it here first. Well, second, right? Because I stole it from Dirty in the X-Band show. But you've got to make accommodations for things like this. So again, going back to what I was saying, right? Making sure that they're doing the right things, that they're putting teams in locations, and that they're putting the proper mechanisms in place to take care of the players, to take care of the staff, the people that are going to be out there, taking a chance on getting hurt in this, that they're all set up. And it's not just, we're in Oakland and there are these labor relation laws and somebody just got Joe Theismann and we're out. We're just gone. We're gone. Yeah. Right. That person's on his own. Right. We saw a lot of that happen with the AAF, and a lot of businesses and merchandise companies and things like that. We saw a lot of people get stiffed because Tom Dundon only came in to basically, vulture the betting technology on the game and then get out. Right. So the people that are in that boardroom making the decisions about what they're going to do with this new organization are making, I have to believe that they're making sure that they don't make those same decisions and leave that kind of a memory. If this organization doesn't work, they don't want to have that same association with the AAF. They want to know that they did everything that they could to keep the ship upright before it finally, hit the iceberg a second time and then just completely went down. Right?
So I agree with all that. That they should be doing that. They should be making sure it's right. Which again leads me to why are you trying to push a season in 4 months? Um, get it right. Uh, set the merger for 25. Make sure everything is in place. Make sure all of your stadiums and stuff are intact. All that stuff. Set the merger in 25.
Yeah. So Mike G is saying, that breakers are on pause until 25 when they have the ball field ready. Could be, right? Jersey here saying New Orleans used to be the Portland Breakers. Oakland was a team in the 80s, right? I mean, it makes sense. The labor law
Oakland's
issues,
got a lot
definitely.
of stadiums because they don't have any teams filling the ones they've got now, so they got a lot of vacancies.
Right. I mean, how many teams did Oakland have that are now in Vegas?
What, all of them?
All of them, right? But you also have San Diego. Remember, people
Yep.
keep overlooking San Diego. San Diego Fleet had the second best attendance in the AAF, next to the San Antonio Commanders. Let's go, baby. Um,
So, but we're talking about this. Okay, now we got Oakland, we got San Diego, and then over here on the West Coast, and then poor Seattle up the top is like, nah, you're too far to travel because so y'all are getting cut.
mhm. But we don't know that
Yeah,
because, again, this is all speculation. And if we're talking about, uh, here you go, Oakland, San Diego, and San Jose. I mean, there could be 3 California teams right there, right? Um, but they'll never be as good as Texas.
never.
Bet. Um, if you look, I mean, if you're trying to cut travel costs and things, yeah, Seattle would be a likely victim. But because, I mean, you got to think about it. You're flying, you know, 2 teams back and forth from Arlington, and this is based on the XFL model, mind you. But you're flying 2 teams back and forth from Arlington to Seattle, and they lose a little bit of time. I know some players have complained about, the 2 hours that they're losing and blah blah blah, whatever. That's why you fly in the night before. You just deal with it, right?
Yeah, I mean,
It's
you're
not
gonna be
that big
losing
of a
those
deal.
2 hours going to California.
Right. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah,
However, that's only 5 games, right? And I mean, fly Spirit. Like there's options, okay? You don't have to take United. You don't have to take. I mean, Southwest flies everywhere. I'm sure you can get a ticket for $25 to
Fly
Seattle.
Spirit, the team that survives the flight wins.
Yeah. Jersey might be right. They may put some teams on the West Coast, and again, that could be part of why it's taking so long, is because they're trying to strategize and make sure that everything that they're doing, that they're spreading expenses, that they're setting mechanisms in place to make sure that all the labor laws are taken care of, that all the players are going to be taken care of, that the travel expenses are going to be significantly cut down.
No.
But that also means that they're going to have to modify that hub system. Okay, because 8 teams coming out of Arlington, probably not necessarily a bad idea. But if they're going to do that, if they're going to do hubs, they're going to have to break it down and make it a little bit better, right? Jersey, right here, 2025 is when you're thinking. Now we've said stuff about that before, right? This could be another reason why they're taking so long, is because maybe in fact this merger, while it's going to happen, maybe it doesn't actually take effect until 2025 when they have a chance to do things like get a stadium for New Orleans,
No.
get
Which is
the
what
Houston
that's what
situation
I've been
figured
saying.
out.
It's what they should do. But then don't come in and announce that the merger is gonna season's gonna start on the 30th. It's just it's a lot of not knowing.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right here. If you have more teams on the West Coast, they have less travel costs throughout the year. You're not necessarily wrong, right? Kind of spread the love around. But you're right that if we're going to do that to try and cut back on cut half the teams, that doubles the budget. You cut 4, that's 25% increase. I'm gonna have to do some math on that one, and we're not a show about math, so let's not math. Um, but yeah, I mean, these are the types of questions that those people are trying to figure out. How do we provide the best options for everybody at the cheapest cost to the organization? Right.
Yeah.
Again, these are people that are making, more than you and I in a year. They're doing it on a daily basis. Okay. So we're going to let those people who know how to make money continue to work on making money. Okay. And at the end of the day, all we can really do is continue to support the teams that we love, whether it be the Roughnecks or the Gamblers or the Sea Dragons, for us, the Brahmas, and really just keep pushing that. Okay. Now, that being the case, I do want to again push an event that we've been talking about now for a while, and that's going to be the Sideline Domestic Violence event in Houston, Texas, with the X Fan Legion and the Houston Roughnecks fan base, specifically Predator Couple, Rig Rocker, and there's a couple more people, and I swear I had this written down and I cannot remember all their names. But this is going to be a weekend long event, right? Starting January 12th and January 13th.
1 month from today.
1 month from today. January 12th is going to be our bowling event where you can either sign up on a team to join with your favorite super fan from the XFL, because it's going to be the Texas Talking Football podcast is going to be there. The Horns Forward podcast is going to be there. I believe there's going to be a couple of different Houston podcasts that are going to be there, including the Houston Superfans that I mentioned. There's going to be some of the deep fried chickens coming down from St. Louis to be a part of this. And I know that some of the podcasts from there are going to be, there as well. I believe Arlington from the X Fan show is going to be there, but he's stationed in Houston, so kind of makes sense that he would be there. I know Queen Hyena herself is going to be there as well. I've heard that Kung Pao might make a special appearance. If you don't know who Kung Pao is, look it up on the X Fan Legion. You'll find out. Really funny stuff. But then, okay, so you can bowl with your favorite celebrity or your favorite super fan rather, or you can bowl against your favorite super fan, right? Brian's bowling game's pretty wicked, so you're going to watch out. You don't want to get a piece of that.
I don't want to brag, but actually, we did bowling at our company, department party last week, and I bowled a 108, so you better look out.
Dude, that's heavy.
Yeah,
that's heavy, especially with the bumpers up.
Exactly.
So you're going to want to take part in that. It's basically bowling for dollars, and the proceeds from that, I believe, are going to be going to the Animal Defense League of Houston. It may also be going to the Houston Area Women's Center. I'm not sure, but pardon me. What I do know is the event on Saturday the 13th at R&R Sports Bar in Houston, Texas. That one specifically is going to the Houston Area Women's Center, and that is to go along with that whole sideline domestic violence thing. This is a cause that is near and dear to us. Maybe it hasn't happened directly to us, but we know somebody that it's happened to. Yeah. Domestic violence is a very real, very troublesome thing. And we need to do our part as a fan base to rally together to, help out those in need, right? Women that have been in abusive relationships, been battered, been displaced, things like that. So all the proceeds from that event are going to be going to help the Houston Area Women's Center. I believe there's also even going to be opportunities for you to buy tickets. If you can't make it in person, you'll be able to buy tickets online. There's going to be an in-person 50-50 drawing and a digital 50-50 drawing. So there's tons of ways that you guys can help out.
Absolutely.
The X Fan Legion will be putting up, and I believe they're going to be changing their name too, but I don't remember what the new one is. So we're just going to go with X Fan Legion for right now. But the X Fan Legion will be putting together a Facebook event page for you to be able to check out all the different things that are going to be going on, see the different items that are going to be up for auction. I know too many names to remember. Texans Talking Football is putting together a gift basket that is going to be available for bid. It's going to have some wonderful Brahmas merchandise in it. It's also going to have a 750-liter bottle of Bullet Bourbon and 2 Bullet Bourbon mugs. So you can enjoy it while you're there. But that's going to be available for auction as well. There's going to be a ton of different things available for you guys to bid on and get involved with. And know that these are things that are being donated by different people around to raise funds to help this event out. So make sure you're checking out that page as soon as it goes live, which it should be by this weekend, and see how you can get involved and you can help out. One other shameless plug. We talked about the Lone Star Club last week, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have not gotten your season tickets, make sure that you're reaching out to a San Antonio Brahmas ticket sales representative. That would be James Carr, specifically. I'm trying to Adam Pena, my season ticket rep. There's a bunch of gentlemen that are out there that are available and ready at any given time to help you with your needs. But let's fill the dome, okay? St. Louis seems to think that they've got the best fan base because they've got the numbers. They're even opening up their second tier in that dusty old birdcage of a dome, right? We as Texans, we can't let that happen, okay? We have to show that we have the best fan base here. So again,
You know why they're opening it up, right? It's because that the smell and stench of that dome, it doesn't go up that high. It kind of sits on the bottom. So they're just trying to get all the fans above it.
that's true. I could see that. But in San Antonio, we don't have to worry about that because we have wonderful, clean facilities in the Alamo Dome.
Our Alamo Dome is clean.
So get out, buy your season tickets, be there for kickoff whenever it's going to be. We know it's in March, but be there for kickoff. We don't know what the organization is going to look like, but we know for a fact that San Antonio Brahmins are here and they're here to stay, right? So get out, support your local team. Let's show the XFL, the USXFL, the USFL, whatever, right? Let's show whatever this organization is going to be that we truly are behind the team, and let's support this.
Absolutely.
Okay. Jersey, I'm not even going to, I appreciate that. I'm not going to waste time posting that comment. We do it because we care, right? We may be loudmouths. We may be jerks. We may give the opponents a difficult time because that's what you're supposed to do as a sports fan,
Absolutely.
right? But at the end of the day, we're all family here. And as much as I razz those players and everything like that, I've got respect for them, right? They're doing something that there's no way I could do. Even in my prime, I couldn't have gotten out there and competed like they did, right? And I'm sure that those players that are out there playing their heart out to get to the next level, whatever the next level may be, they know somebody that this has happened to also, right? And so their hearts are in that as well. So we want to make sure that we're giving back to the community and supporting the XFL as much as the XFL has given to us. So that's why we do it, right? It's a cause that we care deeply about, and it benefits an organization that's supporting a cause that we care deeply about. And we're doing it for the XFL because we care so much for the XFL. There you go. Okay. Enough of the sappy stuff, because this is Texans Talking Football, and we don't have emotions here. We just talk football, dang it. Brian, what do we have to look forward to next week in the NFL?
Cowboys playing at Buffalo. It's another test. We kind of talked about how good Buffalo's offense can be, and Buffalo's a hell of a place to play, especially in December. So I don't know what the weather's going to be like.
Cold,
but cold, and I don't know, but that's another game I'm looking forward to.
Oh yeah, Mike G, fantasy playoffs. I don't want to talk about it because I've been eliminated from both of mine. I was eliminated 2 weeks ago.
I'm playing in one, so
good luck. So next week for me is going to be a big week being a Packers fan, right? We've got the Vikings playing the Bengals in Cincinnati. Both teams are 7-6. We also have the Lions taking on the Broncos in Detroit. Broncos 7-6, Lions are 9-4, but we know that the Broncos have been on a tear lately. Yep. So this could be an opportunity if both of those teams lose for Green Bay to get a jump on the competition. We also know that the Bears are playing the Browns. The 5-8 Bears are playing the 8-5 Browns. Somebody's got to lose. And I'm hoping it's Chicago because I don't need them closing up on us. But we are playing the Buccaneers, both at 6-7. So that's a must win for us.
Yeah.
We have to
Oh yeah,
win that
you
one.
have to.
And it's in Green Bay, so we have a chance.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Eagles are playing the Seahawks.
Yep.
In Seattle.
Yep.
So go Seahawks.
Here's another good game. The Ravens are playing the Jaguars in Florida, so it's going to be nice and balmy and warm, which the Ravens may not be used to. But it's important for the Jaguars to stay in the hunt. They've got to win this game also, right? So Brahma Babe, I know your kiddies are playing, rar or whatever you guys say. Right here, Jersey, who is a dedicated Cowboys fan, mind you. He said he hopes the Smeagol's lose.
I don't. Okay. You know what? As a Cowboys fan, if both the Eagles and the Cowboys win out, Eagles are going to have the tiebreaker for the conference or for the division. So Eagles have to lose one more.
Yep. Hopefully it's this one, right?
Hopefully it's this one. Okay. Hopefully they lose a couple more just to give Cowboys some breathing room. Maybe rest some of the guys that last game.
Yep. So we're getting towards the end of the season. Every game matters. And I love this time of year when we get towards the end of the season, because truly you start seeing some really important games happen.
There's nothing better than football in December. Just seeing the snow and the cold and like the steam coming off the players' helmets. I mean, it's just I love that visual.
True, but there is one thing that's almost as good, and that's kickoff in March when you can watch spring football.
Okay? Well, yeah, when we're there, that is.
Yep, because football's not done.
Absolutely not.
Even though
we got to wait a little bit longer now. We got to wait about another extra month and a half. But
yeah, don't rub it in. But that gives us a chance to prep even better for some serious tailgating. So if you're in the San Antonio area as a visitor, make sure you stop by and see us. We'll be the ones with the tent and the TV and the grill, and that's probably like 10,000 other people. But that's fine. That's fine. Whatever. Okay. But all right. Lots of football this weekend. Make sure you're watching because a lot of these games matter for playoffs. Okay. No, I'm not putting that up. I'm not putting that up, Jersey, because I don't agree with that. I love you, man, but it's the USXFL. And if they don't take that, they're missing a golden opportunity. So it's the USXFL. Bank on it. Start calling it now, Jersey, because I said it here. Okay. All right, folks. That's it. We went way over tonight. I'm sure you're done listening to us. I'm sure we're done talking. All right. SAJ.
Right. See you guys later.
I am out. Oh, and we have our new outro. Did I put it in here? I hope this is the one. We're going to find out. But I think this is our new outro. Here we go. Nope.